Good morning, everyone. As promised, I'm Dan. He's Nick. We are Flyer and Ice 2 minutes for roughing. We told you we'd get right to the Claude Giroux trade when it happened. It's not quite when it happened. We were both very busy last night when the trade broke. But as we talked to you, it's Sunday morning. I got my days correct. And we're here to discuss the trade. Now, the title of our little piece is Giroux for Tippett, fleeced or not fleeced. Now, when you understand the circumstance that the Flyers, in theory, had their hands tied behind their back because it somehow got leaked that the Colorado was no longer in play, and Florida knew they were the only team the Flyers could deal with, then you kind of knew you were screwed. That's where my anger comes in. As of yesterday's show, there was no inkling that Colorado was not in play. Am I correct, Nick? We thought Colorado was in play yesterday.
We did. I was against what the return would be if Colorado was in play based on the speculation.
Well, I found out that Newhook was one of the players as well in the
Okay.
trade. So
Yeah.
the package, by all sports writers that I read, said that the Colorado package was indeed better. So my angst comes with how did it get leaked? I know in today's crazy world of social media, you can't keep secrets, but you have to keep this a secret. That's got to stay in the GM's room. And I don't know how it got. Probably Giroux's agent probably leaked it. I don't even know.
It's impossible to keep something like that a secret. I mean, there are so many people involved when there are talks that are circulating within the organization that somebody's going to call a buddy, somebody's going to call this person, and that person maybe is attached in journalism that they've been, maybe sharing some favors with and whatnot. And hey, keep this under the hat. And then something leaks. And it just happens. You can't really blame anybody. You can blame the situation. But overall, I mean, to say, Giroux put us in this situation, or Fletcher could have done a better job of keeping this under wraps, I think is a little irresponsible. But at the end of the day, you've got to do what you can do. You can't control the circumstances, and in my opinion, the answer is not fleeced. I think there's been some very irresponsible reporting of some quote unquote reputable journalist in coming in and out on Twitter and other social media avenues that are saying that we've gotten fleeced on this deal without even really knowing the full details and understanding at the end of the day, how much have you seen? Has anybody really seen of Owen Tippett? I mean, I personally, excuse me, I'm very attached to this 99 birth year. I have seen a lot of 99 birth year kids develop from their teen years. And Owen Tippett was one of the kids I've been following for a very, very, very long time. I'm sorry to go on a rant here, Dan,
No.
but he is an extremely dangerous player off the rush, which is what the Flyers need. Obviously, you can see that's one of our detriments is breaking out of the zone. Defenders back off of him to respect his speed. And he's got an excellent wrist shot and a snapshot that he can beat goalies with a quick release. It's amongst one of the very best. That shot was amongst one of the very best out of all players in his draft class. He's a sniper. And he's got excellent hand-eye coordination. He's got speed. He's not afraid to battle down low. He checks all the boxes. So, why he hasn't translated his game into the NHL is I mean, for a few reasons. I mean, Florida is front loaded with forwards. He's a 99 birth year, which means he's about 22 or 23 years old. And he, anything he's ever done when I've seen him, through the junior ranks has been complete and total domination. So, let's just sit back for a second and take and understand how we were constricted and what we were able to do on such a short leash. And for Fletcher, I'm not the biggest Fletcher fan in the world, but I think for what he had to deal with here under all the circumstances that he put a respectable deal together.
I get all that, but the only thing that bothers me is, and I totally respect you're not Nick the Scout for a reason. You know your stuff. I mean, you just mentioned the 99 2000 birth class, but Pre-show, I shared with you the top 10 Florida Panther prospects, before this trade took place, and any trades have taken place. And Owen Tippett did not make their top 10 list. Now,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean he's still not a terrific player. Now, the players we talked about yesterday, Grigory Denisenko, he was the number 2 prospect.
Mhm.
I would, and every writer, sports hockey journalist ranked him ahead of Tippett. I would have liked to at least seen a better and a higher prospect. Not saying that Tippett's not terrific. And
Right.
obviously, if Giroux wasn't restricted to just one club, maybe we would have gotten a couple guys.
Right, and Semiskevich was the other one that was being thrown
Right.
around in that, and at the end of the day, uh, you gotta assume that Fletcher tried to pull all the cards and get if not one of those two, both of those players in that deal, and then just time was just not on his side there. But I'd like to switch gears for a quick second and maybe get this fan base a little more excited about how we're beginning this rebuilding process now, and we can start to at least move forward.
Well, before you do that, Nick,
Yeah.
before you do that, let's just quickly go over the board here. So Florida got Giroux and a 2024 fifth, which again irks me. It should just be Giroux and end the story.
Mhm.
And we have to pay half of Giroux's salary. Again, irks me.
That doesn't
And,
matter. It's 2 months, and what's
yeah.
the difference? You're not using that money. You're not using that money for anything else
Well, then
anyway. So
I could say the same thing for Florida. Then what's it matter?
right,
Pay the rest of his salary.
right, right.
So and Connor Bunneman and German Rubtsov, listen, they're a dime a dozen prospects. German's a busted,
Yeah,
a bust of a number 1 pick, and you're just clearing AHL room and whatever salary they make, you're getting rid of that salary. So I really, at first I was upset that we had to give a broomstick or a bag of balls in the deal. But now I understand it's like we're just getting rid of room at the AHL level and some salary. So
right.
ignore those players. They haven't been able to kick the door in for the Flyers. So good luck with them kicking the door in with a team like Florida. And of course, our return is a 2024 first, a 2023 third, and Owen Tippett. And Florida is so good, it'll be obviously
Right.
late in each of those rounds that we pick. All right. Now, quickly to your point, Nick, I apologize for cutting you off.
No worries. But again, this is hopefully the beginning pieces of what's to be the rebuild that this whole fan base has been waiting for a very long time. We can see that the Rangers, kind of did the same thing about 2 or 3 years ago, and look where they are right now. We've got about 10 really, really good prospects down in the collegiate ranks and in juniors and in the AHL that over the next 2 years, I'll just shoot down, a few names right now that could highly impact this team and the growth that we're all looking for as we rebuild towards, a younger, different look. In my opinion, a more dynamic look, a better defensive oriented look. We've already got Carter Hart in place, but players like Connor McClellan, Denoye, York will be up there. Zamula, Ronnie Attard. I mean, there's 3 defensemen right there that we're all looking forward to seeing. Yeah. So then, on the other side of things, players that have been hurt, like Wisdom and Forster, that, will hopefully bounce back. Lazinski, Wade Allison, who's been hurt, Bobby Brink coming out of the University of Denver. There's
Denoye, did you mention him?
Yeah, I did. I
Okay.
did. Who's lighting it up in the queue right now. But these are all, look, there's a lot to get. The Flyers are quietly, and on top of that, Dan, now, with Farabee and oh gosh, well, Tippett, obviously. So, those 2 players as well. So, if you can keep a little bit of veteran leadership, as like in a Loughton and maybe a Couturier and a TK, you're starting to assemble a nice team and maybe not a very, long period of time. All these players that we're discussing in their system have the ability to come up and be dominant right away. And so I think this is something that we all need to just, wish Giroux good luck. It was a trade that was imminent, and now it's time to rebuild and move forward.
Well, I guess the next time you'll see our faces could be Monday evening, perhaps. The trade deadline is Monday, And we are hoping to see a hell of a lot more movement with
Right.
this team, more so than any other year in recent
Right.
history. So this is where, if those of you are really angry at Chuck Fletcher, and I was initially, but I understand after calming down how hamstrung he was and how handcuffed he was with this situation.
Yeah.
This is where he has to make his bones. This is where he has to impress people. Braun shouldn't be here any longer, right?
Right.
Maybe some young pieces that have been disappointing, maybe flip for other teams' disappointing pieces and prospects and draft capital. So we shall see. But we expect to be back on the air sooner than later, because if the Flyers are quiet at the trade deadline, we'll be back on for that, because they should not be quiet at the trade deadline. So for Nick Descaltasti, I am Dan Green. We are the Heat Ratio Sports Network. Subscribe, tap that bell, and you'll see not just this great programming, but all our wonderful programming. Have a great rest of the weekend, and we look to see you after an exciting trade deadline. Take care, everyone.
Let's go Flyers.
Yeah.